what we are always discussing, how we can, or how we think that we have the best chance that we can continue this pathway. And Oliver Glasner doesn't have the final solution, and Steve Parish doesn't have. But when we discuss about it, what's possible, what we can do, and if we working together and having a relationship together just makes sense if you have the same goals, if you have the same vision, if we can find the same pathway, the same goal for Crystal Palace, not for Oliver Glasner, for Crystal Palace, then we will end the talks. And if we don't find, we will also end the talks.
We've got to say it's just Liverpool United, but I actually think it's this one.
The Halo Derby.
Yeah. Both teams are doing incredibly well. And I think they've both got very unique styles. Yeah. I think Bournemouth, the fact everyone just thought they wouldn't have a good season because they lost so many key players in the window. I just think it's set up to be a great game.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Palace, though, because they were the last team standing in terms of unbeaten record. That went at Hill Dickinson Stadium. How do they regroup now?
Well, they've got that really strong defensive base. I'm straying into your territory here, so I'll let you take over. But I'll just say this. I think there is a basic ethos, a discipline, if you like, at Palace, and a mentality that means it will not be difficult for them to come back from losing at Hill Dickinson. To be fair, David Moyes is undefeated there, so there's no shame in losing there. And it took a last gasp goal for them to lose. But I think generally, because they are so good defensively, because they have that ability to score goals, because Mateta, who for me, I'm staggered another team hasn't come in and tried to pinch him away, because I think he's one of the most underrated strikers in the Premier League, but because they've got him up front with his ability to score all kinds of goals, and then he goes and misses one there, I think they're going to be absolutely fine, and that's why this is going to be so closely contested. Yeah, they did miss, as we're showing you now, plenty of chances. Any thought that maybe this record and the unbeaten record was weighing quite heavily on them at all?
Well, I think because everyone kept talking about it, eventually you probably do just live in the back of your mind a little bit. But a remarkable run, and whenever I've watched Palace, they do this system, and everyone talks about the back three, but what I find is fascinating when you watch them, whenever they get into their own third, the back three or the back five that they become are so... The protection of the central space is, for me, the best example of that out of any team in the Premier League. And therefore, that is where most goals are scored. And they just don't concede that much space there. They force teams to go round, get more players back, and they make it very difficult. It's a well-drilled process. It's a really good... I remember being at Stamford Bridge when Antonio Conte played three at the back. He's the only team ever to win the Premier League with three at the back. I remember after they'd demolished Everton, Ronald Koeman, who was the Everton manager at the time, said they are the best exponents of the 3-5-2 I've seen in the Premier League. I think Palace are headed in that direction too, for all the reasons that you say. They are organised, everybody knows what their jobs are, they have that desire to deny the opposition space just in front of that back three, and they've got the ability to transition, to provide opportunities for their forward line to be able to get the goals that they've scored. Yeah, I am agreeing with you, because why would you stay at a club that is going to sell its best players and not replace them? I want to know, if I'm Glasner, as he's been saying there, what's the vision? I don't just want more money. I want the capability to carry on winning things, and we can do that if we don't sell our best players and if we recruit more to give us a depth of squad that will enable us to compete if we were to lose people.
Yeah, I want to move on to their opponents, Bournemouth, though, because, as we mentioned, Glasner's been impressive, but so too has Andoni Iraola. Most impressive for me, undoubtedly, is the fact that he's rebuilt a defence that was gutted after last season. You know, we already spoke about Kirkes afterwards. They lost they lost Dean Housen, they lost Kepa, and he has rebuilt that defence. Yeah, it's remarkable, really. I think Senesi is key to that. Yeah. But even to bring in, new players I've got to start every week, plus a goalkeeper, it takes a lot of discipline and hard work and a lot of commitment. And you need not just the staff and the manager, but the players have to be willing to take that information on board. And, that's where your scouting and your recruitment really does play a big role in that. But even just, they have Tyler Adams and Scott in midfield. And
I think some people might look at that and be like, oh, it's quite a modest sort of pairing. He has got them playing so well, so disciplined. They contribute, they make a difference in the games. And then they have players like Semenyo, like Kluivert, Evan Nielsen, who all have fantastic ability, that if you can be solid and give them opportunities, get them the ball, let them have the chance to shine, they will. And a remarkable job.
Yeah, just thinking back to that game, it was 0-0 up until 70 minutes. I was hosting it thinking, what are we watching here? And then they came up with those strikes to battle back against Fulham. A fascinating encounter. Bournemouth so far this season for you?
Terrific, and they've got every reason to be concerned that other clubs are taking long gazes at Iraola, because his record is good, his defensive record is good. Semenyo, honestly, I think he has scored or assisted 14 of their last 18 goals. And when you look at the weapon that he is for them, and his ability to hold the ball up and provide himself as an outlet for a side if they're under pressure, you can see why Palace haven't scored in their last 4 games against Bournemouth. And I think it might be more of the same tomorrow.
Yeah. The first one is he has never beaten Unai Emery, so he wants to do that as a manager. The second one is that if Spurs manage a victory, they could be top of the table depending on results elsewhere.
Yeah, they've had a great start under Thomas
Why are you
Frank.
winding her up for?
It's my job to ask questions. She took a long pause before she
exactly. What direction it is. This has actually been, I think, in the last sort of 18 months, a fixture that has actually offered up quite a lot of action. It's often had a lot of goals. 2 teams that have high ambitions. I feel like Villa didn't get the start they wanted, but are now finding a bit of form. And Spurs are doing really well under a new manager. So again, quite an interesting fixture, this one.
Can you answer my question, please? Because she just dodged.
Yeah. Something on the fence.
How crazy is that stat that, Thomas Frank has never beaten Unai Emery as a manager? It's the hoodoo.
It is a hoodoo, but then when you look at Unai Emery and you understand his body of work, you can understand why he does have these long records against other managers. And if you think about Frank, he's a very experienced manager, but Emery has managed in a number of different countries and won silverware in a number of different countries. He plundered the Europa League, of course, in its various guises as well. So he's someone who brings vast experience to the role. And I think as far as Tottenham are concerned, they are better now defensively. They're better on set pieces. They are more of a threat in different ways. I think that there are a number of reasons why they can feel confident. And what a goal that is. But set against that, Villa now, they've stopped crying over the Champions League. They've, that's gone, and they now accept that. And suddenly, 4 wins in a row, they're on fire. So I think you're right, Rachel. I think this could be a score, at the very least, a score draw. There are going to be goals in this game.
There hasn't been a draw between these two since May 2012. It almost always, and certainly in recent history, produces a win. I'm sorry for saying stats again. I apologise. I will never do that again. Everyone is my witness. I'll leave that to you. But what is your early season report on Spurs? And I think at home, they've still not done well. 3 of 17 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium they've won.
Yeah, I think that probably is a little bit of a hoodoo for them. It's a huge stadium, it's a spectacular stadium, but also when you can also understand when things aren't going so well, there's a bit of pressure. The noise and the feel, the energy you get from the crowd is also significant. Whether that's having an effect or not, who knows? I think Kouras and Paulinho, for me, have been sensational so far, and they are going to be key to keep fit, keep available. Their contribution, I've really seen that they've impressed so far, me.
Well, let's get your thoughts on Villa then, Rachel, because Ollie Watkins, there was that scare. We've been hearing today that he is going to be available for this game, but Marlon scored twice in the last one. So there is